What's going on, everybody? This is Press YYZ, a video game podcast. I'm your host for today, Alex Ballant, and joining me is Mitch George.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
No complaints.
That's good to hear. AJ Fraser is also joining me today.
Yeah, I thought I got fired or something. I don't know. Well, you'll figure it out later, I'm sure.
Well, we're going to have to speak to the head of HR, Nathan McInerney. How you doing today?
Not bad, not bad. I've been revising the HR binder, getting ready to figure out what we're going to do about Alex. Or AJ, sorry.
Names are hard. It's okay.
You weren't wrong there. He is an Alex. And speaking of Alexes, we have a third one. How you doing, Kozi?
I'm doing okay. Je suis très triste quand on parle de l'ananas sur la pizza.
I have no idea what you just said.
Something about pineapple on pizza.
He doesn't like the idea of pineapple on pizza.
Okay, well.
Okay, perfect.
You're not the only one that speaks French.
Looks like we're all in agreement, except for AJ, who
He's on the right side of history.
this will officially be his last episode. Alright, so before we get into any news or anything, I'd like to ask you guys, what have you guys been playing, doing this week? I'm going to start with Kozi. How are you doing? What have you been doing?
Well, I'm really happy that you asked me what I've been doing this week because I've been preparing a super special, awesome little project that I am proud to unveil right here and right now. Well, technically, by the time that this podcast will get out to everybody, this will be old news because I'll have shared it on social media. But on Monday, February the 17th at 9 p.m. EST on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CozyBearLive, KOZIBEARLIVE, I will be hosting the first ever Kozina for Kinda Funny Direct, a short Nintendo Direct style presentation where yours truly will be talking about myself, my past connections to Kinda Funny, and why I want to be Kinda Funny's next up-and-comer.
That sounds really exciting. I can't wait to see what you've got.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, chances are it's out on Sunday. It's still not too late to go over to my channel, bookmark it, subscribe to it, or maybe just follow it if you don't want to give money right away, and be ready to listen to my thing at 9 p.m. EST, or 6 p.m. EST if you live on the West Coast. 6 p.m. PST, sorry.
Fair enough. And so have you been playing any games, watching anything interesting?
Oh yeah, that's right, games. Sorry about that.
Yeah, this is a video game podcast.
I'll keep this quick because I feel like I said a whole bunch right here and right now. I've been playing a lot more of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That game, I'm really tremendously enjoying that game. I will say I am on Kashyyyk right now, and I am beginning to feel some of the bugs and glitches beginning to crop up, but so far nothing too bad. I got recently back into Pokemon Emerald. I never fully completed the Battle Tower in that game, and I've been going at it, trying to complete some of the more harder facilities in there.
So the Battle Frontier, then, not the Battle Tower specifically. Right?
Well, I've not beaten the Battle Tower specifically within the Battle Frontier, but correct, the Battle Frontier as a whole.
The Pokemon talk starts early. Let's go.
Yeah, the other two facilities I've not been are the Battle Factory and the Battle Arena. They're both pretty challenging. But I'll save some more Poke Talk for later because I want to also mention that I recently started up BioShock 1 Remastered. Really holds up really, really well. The studio that remastered the game, I feel, did a pretty good job. I will also say, playing it now in 2020, I feel like back in the day, a lot of people used to say, oh man, the original BioShock is not a shooter. And I used to think, that strikes me as kind of an elitist thing to say. Like, you're just saying that because you feel like your game is high art and you don't want it to be grouped alongside the Call of Duties of the world. But mechanically, the game does feel pretty different from those kind of games of those ilk. So I do definitely understand and appreciate that stance a lot more now. When I get around to completing it, which I hope to do over the course of the next week or so, I'll have more in-depth thoughts to share.
That's fantastic to hear. Nathan, what have you been doing?
I've been doing a few things. I finished up the story mode on Injustice 2. I told you guys I started that last week. Fantastic story.
Does anyone care about spoilers? I have a question.
No, it's fine.
Who'd you pick, Batman or Superman?
I picked Batman. I'm going to go back and do a Superman one so I can see the ending for it. But
Good
canonically, I need to see Batman's ending. I can't side with Superman in this case.
Yeah.
It was actually, my kids were watching me play it. It was really difficult to explain to them why Superman was a bad guy. Especially when the Lego Batman movie continually said, Superman's not a bad guy.
You could show them the seminal piece of art known as Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, and then they would just know, right?
It's true, but I'm trying to save that cinematic masterpiece for later in their life.
You sure?
You're denying them greatness there.
So
You could just show them the normal edition of that movie if you're concerned about some of the more scandalous scenes that are in it.
true.
You don't want to show them Ben Affleck's ass too early.
Yeah.
It's never too early for Ben Affleck's ass.
I was going to say.
Just so you know.
The other thing I've been doing is I got a review code for Glass Masquerade 2, which is kind of like a jigsaw puzzle where you put stained glass jigsaws puzzles together. And I platinumed the last one twice on my European account and my actual PlayStation account. So I was trying to get the platinum done for it before it launched and be the first person in the world to platinum it. Unfortunately, I missed out by about 15 minutes to get the number one platinum. So I was a little disappointed in that, but it's a fun little game that maybe is a little too hard on hard mode. And then the final thing, my wife and I have been binging the Fast and the Furious movies because we've never seen them. We're taking a break tonight because of the podcast, but in the past 5 nights, I've watched 5 movies from the Fast and Furious series.
So would you say you're part of the family now?
I guess so. I'm done Fast 5. It was by far the best of the movies. So I'm excited for 6 and 7 because I hear very positive things. It's Mission Impossible with cars, which I really like.
It's a very apt way to put it.
Can I call a quick timeout? Not like a timeout for us recording the podcast, but a timeout for this conversation. How many platinum trophies does everyone have in the room?
10?
11.
41? 40,
Sorry, 11. I got one yesterday.
41 or 42?
Yeah, I got 0.
Okay, I'm kind of the winner here, and I feel kind of ashamed about saying this, but I have 148.
Jesus H. Christ!
How many of those are garbage games, though?
There's a lot of Japanese visual novels there, because when I was living in Japan, I was able to buy Japanese visual novels fairly cheaply, platinum them on my Vita, and then turn them back in for cash.
I mean, it's a good way to learn the language, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's the excuse you can tell yourself for having all those garbage trophies.
I mean, I did play most of them by, like, following guides online. I didn't really pay much attention to what was going on then. Anyways.
It's okay. The platinum I got last night was Telltale Batman Season 1, so it's not like I don't have my own cheap platinum trophies.
I mean, you actually paid attention to the story in that one, though.
Well, I just went back because for whatever reason, the first time I played it, it glitched out on like the last 2 trophies, and I didn't get them even though I finished the game. So I'm just like, no, forget this. I'm going back. I'm finishing that chapter just to be done with the damn thing.
Very nice. All right. Is that all you've been doing, or is there anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good. Let's move on.
Perfect. Then, AJ, what have you been doing?
I've been playing a lot more Smash, of course, like every week. It's just something that's so quick and easy to fall into that you just pick it up, go online, knock a couple dudes off the stage and come back to it. But I on the remastered game side of things, I totally forgot until you said BioShock, but I got around to just booting up the Uncharted remaster for PS4, and I just found that it does not hold up very well. This is the original Uncharted, the original one. Nope. It's like the controls just felt off. The graphics, didn't quite look well. The story and everything still seems as good as ever. It's just everything around it just sort of didn't quite hold up.
I mean, I don't mean to interrupt. When it does come to the controls, though, for the remaster at least, they did fix a lot of the controls. Like, at least you don't have to use 6-axis to throw grenades anymore.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh my god, I forgot
so,
about that. Yeah, I didn't get far enough into like that first level to like get to throw a grenade myself, but just playing it was kind of cumbersome. But I remember how good it was when the game originally came out back in 2007.
Yeah, 2007.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a masterpiece back then. Story-wise, it still holds up, but
It's funny, I still remember to this day sitting in my living room and my dad asking me to move the PS3 into the living room just so he could watch me play that game because he felt it was so close to what a movie could be that he actually watched me play through that whole game.
I never played the original Uncharted, but I started with Uncharted 2, and my wife literally watched me play the entire game.
It's just one of those series that you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I want to play through the original Uncharted at some point in the future, because that game still ranks very highly for me. I'd say at this point in time, given how the tide has turned on that game, I'm almost like an apologist for Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and I'd be interested in having maybe a quick little discussion on where that game ranks today after I play through it again.
I just found even in more recent months, like I went back to the one on PS Vita, and I found even that one, even on the small Vita, it still felt a lot better than the original Uncharted, even if in its remastered state. But that was just me.
I think one day when we do a hot takeoff, which we're talking about is for a future episode at some point, Uncharted being the worst Uncharted is not going to be a hot take.
That's fair. That's fair. I never said it was the worst. I'm just saying it was. It doesn't hold up like I hoped it would. And then the other thing that I did is I just decided to watch the Justice League movie. It was fine. I didn't hate it. The last time I saw it on an airplane, so I wasn't paying that much attention. I paid more attention this time. Really noticed the Henry Cavill's face this time. I mean, yeah, they fumbled that whole universe there.
It's two distinct movies in one movie, and it doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I really wish that we do get, like, I know it's never going to happen, but I really want the Snyder cut if it ever does come to fruition, because then at least we'd have Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League all feel like a cohesive unit. Like, yeah, they're all going to be kind of shitty, but at least they're all going to kind of feel like they're a part of the same universe, where it's like you don't get this drastic difference between Batman v Superman and then Justice League.
Yeah.
Wait, are we saying that Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman are bad?
They are horrifically awful.
What? No, they're great.
Man of Steel's okay. Man of Steel
is not good.
They both have their redeeming
They are
qualities.
both not good movies.
Henry Cavill's a good Superman. He's a good
I
Clark
didn't
Kent.
say he wasn't, but he also gets to either say nothing or say garbage dialogue.
Yeah. Similar to Uncharted, some of
That
it,
is true.
the outside bits of it don't quite hold up.
All I'm going to say is Zack Snyder hates Superman.
Oh.
And now moving on, Mitch, what have you been doing?
So with the Oscars being this past weekend, my fiance and I sat down and binged a few of those films in anticipation of the awards. So we went through Marriage Story, The Two Popes. What else did we watch? I think we watched a couple others, but they're escaping me at the moment. But from a games perspective, I actually dabbled a bit with Pokemon Home when that released yesterday.
Oh, very nice.
So, for those who are unaware, even though I talk about Pokemon on the show every week, Pokemon Home is a new companion app to the mainline Pokemon games that allows you to move any Pokemon from previous generations into your current gen games on the Switch. And I, for the life of me, could not get this stupid app to work on my phone last night. It took me a good hour to figure out why I couldn't log into this stupid thing. And you want to know what it was?
Too many people trying to log in at once?
No. It's worse than that. So the stupid bug I ran into, I use a password manager for saving all my passwords. So I was using the password manager to auto fill in my Nintendo credentials. For whatever reason, the app doesn't recognize the autofill, so it thinks I'm entering an empty string. So it fails every time unless I manually type in my stupid username and my stupid password.
Sounds like a very first world problem to me.
It absolutely is, but I'm trying to log in to play with my virtual digital monsters. It's all first world bullshit. But it's just stupid that I had to go to Twitter and find someone buried deep inside a Twitter thread say, oh yeah, just do this. The hell? Well, either way, I played around with that a bit. The trading mechanics, having that all available on my phone is pretty cool. All the box management and stuff is in the Switch app, which is fine. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by it. I'm probably going to keep messing around with it because I'm a sucker for everything Pokemon. The other thing that I was able to do this week was get into the xCloud beta. Specifically, and this was only announced and released today, on iOS.
Hell yeah.
So I've been messing around with xCloud on my phone and on my iPad, and AJ was right. It totally works. I don't notice the lag. I still get my ass handed to me in Halo, but I blame myself and not the controls or the latency. It works. I'm flabbergasted that it works as well as it does. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I've had access to xCloud for whatever like I live in Canada. I've had access to the American version of xCloud, which I would have to access through a VPN and blah 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 for months at this point. And you know, that made me a believer even in things like Stadia, right? The technology works, right? As long as you don't have, you know, data caps and limits on speed limits and stuff like that. But yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal how one-to-one it pretty well feels. It's just a matter of like, yeah, you have to adjust to like a smaller screen if you're playing on a phone, but other than that, it's great.
So I did try to mess with that, where I tried to plug my phone into my TV because I have an HDMI adapter for my phone, and it didn't work.
Oh.
I was very disappointed when that didn't work, but I'm sure that there's some bit in the software to block you from mirroring the screen or something.
Yeah, I've tried to like cast my screen to my Chromecast on my TV and everything, and yeah, that still didn't work. What controller are you using for it?
So I was using a DualShock 4,
Playing Halo with a PlayStation controller. How cool
which
is that?
felt it was cool, except for the fact that the way that the buttons are mapped, I'm constantly having to take my thumb off the right stick. Offset sticks is the correct orientation for control sticks on a controller. That's the one thing I hate about the DualShock 4. Any PlayStation controller, they can go die in a gutter if they don't flip that, which I know they're not going to for the PS5. So I've got a friend at work who's got a plethora of Xbox One controllers. I'm just going to borrow one off him and buy a cheap mount and mess around with that.
Make sure he doesn't give you like one of the old Xbox One controllers, because they didn't all have Bluetooth originally.
Ooh, good call. I'll have to I'm gonna text him after the show and just make sure he gets me a recent one. Yeah, I know he just picked up an Xbox One S all digital over the holidays, and now with this working as well as it does, the next time that thing's on sale, I'm buying it. I'm in. Like I was already thinking about picking up an Xbox to have more content to talk about for this show. But they've proven it works. Like if this works as well as it can moving forward at scale, I'm blown away.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's way better than PlayStation Now.
Wow.
And honestly, getting an Xbox Now, like you don't even have to buy any games for it. You could just get xCloud, Game Pass, and you're set. Yeah.
That's all I was gonna do. That was my plan. And then the next game I've been playing, which is a little indie game that was on sale on the Switch that I picked up called Yoku's Island Express, which is part Metroidvania, part pinball, which doesn't sound like it should work, but it's a really, really fun little tight experience that I'm gonna probably finish over the weekend because I have a road trip coming up, which means I'm playing a lot of Switch games. But yeah, really enjoying it. The mechanics are solid. The pinball works. It makes sense within the world and the story they're telling. It's great. So, Alex, I know we've all been talking. So, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
It's been, actually kind of more relaxed than normal, which is pretty nice. So I've been continuing playing Hollow Knight. It's just like there's not much more I can say about the game. Like I am enjoying it, but I am still getting like thrown against the wall of like, where the hell do I go? I'm getting really frustrated. And I've even resorted to using guides, but it's kind of hard with like the non-linear structure of it, of you just kind of like go to whichever area you want to try to explore, and then you kind of hit the roadblocks of like, oh, I can't go over there yet because I don't have whatever power up that I need to get over there. So I've just been kind of like walking around in circles for a lot of the time that I've been playing it as of late. But I have been also playing, because in 1 month Doom Eternal comes out. I restarted Doom 2016, and I have to say, it is my favorite game, I think, ever. I love Doom 2016 so much, and I play it at least once a year since it's come out, so, only like 3 years, but still, it's one of, if not my favorite game ever, and I will continue to play it until I die.
So there are 2 major games releasing on March 20th.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet you that Animal Crossing will sell better lifetime than Doom Eternal. What do you think?
I could agree with that, just because I think Animal Crossing. I mean, the Switch is like huge, and I think it's going to be one of those like. I think it's going to be a system seller for the Switch. But I don't think you should discount Doom Eternal. Like, I think it's.
I was going to say Doom Eternal is cross-platform, so you've got that install base across PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, and Stadia. So, what do you think? Which one Lifetime you think is going to sell more?
I still think it's going to be Animal Crossing, just because I think the Switch install base is so dedicated to those like first-party Nintendo games. Like the fact that I know it's Pokemon, but Pokemon has sold like 16 million units, which is insane.
Because it's a great game.
Fair enough. I don't have an opinion on it because I haven't played it, but like I just think the attach rate to first-party Nintendo games is so huge that I think it's going to sell gangbusters regardless. But yeah, so been playing Doom. I love it. It's my favorite. It's so good. It's the best first-person shooter I've ever played. But I've also this weekend went out and saw Birds of Prey, or Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which they have now changed the name of the movie.
It's Harley Quinn Birds of Prey now.
Yeah, which is also not a good name. Why didn't they just say Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey or something like that? Like, why does it have to be...
So my understanding is that's for ticket sales. It's not like a permanent change to the movie, but it's for when people are buying the tickets, they want to have the name different in it so that Harley Quinn's right up front.
I have 3 words for you, which is why they made this change, and that is search engine optimization. The initial name just doesn't make sense when you go to Google or type it in or whatever. So throwing Harley Quinn at the front makes it, again, it is about that character, like what Nathan said, and it does make it a lot easier for people to search for it, because you know they're going to go to Google and say, oh, I want to see the Birds of Prey movie. Okay, do you want Birds of Prey? Do you want Birds of Prey the comic? Do you want Birds of Prey the box set? I don't friggin' know. So from a search engine optimization perspective, it makes a lot of sense for them to have made this change. It's also not the first time we've seen this from a big budget film.
That is true. I remember, the Tom Cruise movie, Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat. I think it's
such a good movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I am really sad that it didn't do well. Just like how Birds of Prey is not doing super well in comparison to the other DC movies.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see it jump up significantly in its second weekend just from this name change. Like, people are going to be able to find it.
I think it's going to be that and word of mouth, because the movie's pretty damn good. I really enjoyed it. It may or may not be my favorite of the DC Extended Universe movies. But
Shazam!
Shazam is good.
Shazam.
I don't really think it comes together in the end, compared to Birds of Prey. Like, I think Birds of Prey is a solid movie from start to finish. It does have some pacing issues, but I think between Margot Robbie and Ewan McGregor, they are having the time of their flippin' lives playing those characters, and I just think the action is also incredible in it. Like,
didn't they get the same fight choreographer from John Wick?
I don't know, but I would believe it, because there's a lot of wide shots, and you can tell that it's like the actors actually doing a lot of the stunts. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them. And also just like you can tell what's going on, which I think was one of the things that John Wick did so successfully, and that Birds of Prey also has done very successfully.
Yeah, so I just found an article from slashfilm.com, an interview with the director talking about working with the team that choreographed John Wick.
That would make
so
a
the
lot
company
of sense.
behind the action was involved with Birds of Prey in some fashion.
But yeah, I highly recommend it. I think more people should go out and see it, because it's not Suicide Squad 2, which, was what I was thinking it was going to be. I was very down on the movie before it came out. I thought it was going to be awful, because it was I thought it was going to be more tightly associated with Suicide Squad, which broke my heart. I hate that movie. I think it's one of the only movies that I actually despise everything about it. But yeah, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's definitely worth seeing.
But Suicide Squad was made in Toronto.
That doesn't mean it's good.
You have to.
Yeah,
love
I actually saw them filming one of the chase scenes with the Batmobile down Bay Street in Toronto. That was actually pretty bizarre to see. But I was just gonna say, my fiance is a huge Batman fan, probably a bigger comic book fan, at least related to Batman, than I am, and she's super looking forward to this movie. So I'm hoping before the next time I'm on the show, I may be able to echo your sentiments, Alex, after having seen it myself.
I can't wait to hear it. So that's we're through with what everyone's been doing. So I think it's time for the news, and we're gonna insert the jingle that Mitch made.
If it's not totally terrible and everyone doesn't hate it.
Ready, set, go. News drop.
Okay, so time for the news dump. So our first story is one that I thought was very interesting. It's Sony paying $229 million for Insomniac Games. Last August of 2019 that Sony purchased Insomniac Games, which are obviously known for Spider-Man PS4, for Sunset Overdrive, the Ratchet and Clank games. Like they were a very well known like independent studio that then worked very closely with Sony. And it just came out today actually how much Sony did pay for Insomniac, which is again $229 million paid out mainly in cash. The article we're looking at is from gamesindustry.biz, Brendan St. Clair. And what do you guys think of this number? Do you think it was worth it?
I think it's low, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like there have been some other major studio acquisitions that like I think Rare was purchased by Microsoft for more than this. And like there are a few others that I can't really think of off the top of my head. Nathan, can you think of?
Mojang was purchased for billions by Microsoft, wasn't it? Like $2 billion. That's what Notch got in the end.
Yeah.
This is low on the studio acquisition side, and I'm curious why it's so low, considering they came out of a huge banner with Spider-Man to the team, and they've got a good list of IPs as well because they own at Ratchet and Clank.
They also own Sunset Overdrive as well. That was part of
Yeah.
the deal with Microsoft, is they own the IP.
So I'm excited that they're under Sony's first party umbrella. In fact, in some ways, I'm like, why did this take so long to happen in the first place? This was the most obvious studio acquisition that they could have had.
Because I think Sony worked with, like, they only published for Sony systems for probably the first, I think in the article it said 18 years of its existence. From things like Spyro, Ratchet, Resistance, and now Spider-Man. But
yeah, it wasn't until 2012 where they published Outernauts for Facebook.
Yeah, and I was to say they had Fuse that they did for EA, which was a big bust.
that game looked so good when they
right.
first announced it. Like, it looked like it had Sunset Overdrive vibes really, like, way before they even considered that game. And then EA probably just came and be like, no, that won't sell. Give us generic army, bland, dark third-person shooter.
So, like, my biggest touchstone with Insomniac are the Resistance games. Those are definitely the games that I have the most experience with. And with that series, I still can feel kind of bad that they weren't able to get the proper advertising that they needed to make Resistance 3 a big success. Because if you remember, the kind of narrative with that series is Resistance 1 came out alongside the launch of the PlayStation 3. It's not aged super well by today's standards, but it wasn't a bad shooter at the time, and it was supported pretty well after launch with multiplayer updates. Resistance 2 came around, and it kind of homogenized the experience a lot. It went from being about a solitary man's journey to save the world to like a kind of big broy military shooter. It removed the weapon wheel, which is basically the ability to hold up to like a dozen weapons at any time, and made it so that you could only hold 2 at any time, in the vein of shooters like Call of Duty, and made a lot of its gameplay very kind of turnkey in terms of, well, I guess at this point you need to get the rocket launcher to defeat the big bad enemy. And then with Resistance 3, they basically relapsed and like, all right, let's listen to the fans. Let's, bring back the weapon wheel, make it a solitary adventure game, really kind of like make it the game that fans wanted, that fans loved from the original Resistance, but improved and modernized for what an experience should be in 2011 when it released. And it was really good, and it just really was like not well advertised, did not have good word of mouth. And unfortunately, that seems to be kind of a trend with this developers, that they consistently made up until the release of Spider-Man really good games that just did not receive the marketing or were not big successes on the level that they should have been.
I'm now hoping that with this acquisition that we do see the Resistance games get updated to PS4. I would love that.
I would love a Resistance remaster or something like that.
I mean, I would love it too. I think the chances of it coming back are kind of on the lower end of the spectrum.
I also feel like those games are not going to hold up to what you remember them being. I had such fond memories of playing the Resistance 2 multiplayer in high school with some of my friends. I have memories of playing through that phenomenal story that we got with Resistance 3. I don't think it holds up to today's standards.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the cash cows for Insomniac right now are going to be the Spider-Man sequels and Ratchet and Clank, and potentially working on PSVR titles.
What do you guys think the possibilities of a Sunset Overdrive sequel are exclusive to a PlayStation platform? Because they do own that IP. They just don't own the rights to publish that first game.
I don't think it's out of the question. And I mean, I don't see anything else in Sony's slate that really is equivalent to Sunset Overdrive. I feel like, well, I think that...
Except for maybe Spider-Man.
That's true, but I was also thinking, like, you know, Sunset Overdrive definitely shares a bit of DNA with Ratchet and Clank, in that it is this sort of, like, loony action game that is known for all of its outlandish weapons. And I feel like if Sony's like, hey, we want to put Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation 5, but we don't want it to be exactly Ratchet and Clank. We want it to be something a little bit different, more modernized. I feel like Sunset Overdrive 2 might be a good way to do so.
Yeah, I also feel like Sony has a good track record of sort of just letting their developers do what they want. You look at someone like Bend Studios or Media Molecule, getting the amount of time that they had to make games like Days Gone and Dreams, and we all know that Days Gone didn't necessarily connect with a lot of players. There were some hiccups to that. We don't know how Dreams is going to measure up, given that it's the early access release has already happened. The full game releases on February the 14th. But as long as I think Insomniac keeps up this track record of delivering really good experiences, Sony's just going to say, here's the advertising. Put out what you want, whether it is these smaller indie style games, maybe PSVR games, or if it is these big AAA open world experiences a la Spider-Man or Sunset Overdrive.
Well, it's only a matter of time until we see something new from Insomniac, now owned by Sony. So, our next story is that BioWare, on their blog, posted a article about the Anthem's future.
You mean they haven't given up on Anthem completely yet?
Surprisingly, no, they haven't. So...
Okay, did anyone here actually play Anthem, first of all?
Nope.
Nope.
Wow.
But I still think that this is interesting because, honestly...
Go for it, but I don't think we're going to have a lot to say about this, to be honest. But please go ahead.
Yeah, we can get through this... We can get through this quickly. But I just thought that this was really interesting because BioWare is a studio very near and dear to my heart. And so I think near and dear to a lot of people's hearts with the Mass Effect trilogy, Dragon Age, right?
I played maybe 15 minutes of Mass Effect 1 when the trilogy came out on the PS3, and that game has sat in storage ever since.
Okay, great.
I mean, I liked Mass Effect.
Sorry, I had a bit of a brain fart when you said that. Yeah, Mass Effect 2 and 3, love both those games. Great series.
Say the first one does not hold up, at least when I played it a couple years ago.
I never played Mass Effect.
That's very surprising. They are very much worth it. Unfortunately, there's no real way to play them right now, except for on PC.
I was going to say, it wasn't that surprising because Mass Effect originally only released on the Xbox. That was an exclusive for the first 3 or 4 years of that game's release before it got ported elsewhere.
Yeah, it wasn't until Mass Effect 2 came out that they re-released 1 on PS3.
Yeah.
Either way, back to Anthem. That's how memorable that game was. That we just immediately went off track.
we just immediately remember everything that came before it.
Yeah, so Casey Hudson, who is the studio manager for BioWare Edmonton, released a blog post today sort of talking about what Anthem's future is going to be. And basically, to sort of summarize it, they spent the first year of Anthem's release just kind of fine-tuning it and trying to fix a lot of the bugs and sort of problems that the game was having. And so now they're working towards having a more fulfilling end game, which is kind of with these games as service is a huge deal. And they're trying to they're not giving up on it, which I think is the most important part about this whole blog post, is that as somebody who might enjoy Anthem at some point, and for the people who do enjoy it right now, that there will be content in the future. So
Yeah, I just want to say quickly, tertiary to this discussion, earlier you brought up Casey Hudson. He, somewhat famously left BioWare and then came back midway through Anthem's development and possibly helped, steer that ship as rightly as he could at the time. Not too long ago, Mike Laidlaw, who was the longtime creative director on the Dragon Age series, left BioWare to go and join up with Ubisoft. And just a few days ago, well, about a week ago at this point, he actually departed Ubisoft. And I wonder now if he's going to go the same route as Casey Hudson and return to BioWare as well to help right the ship.
that could be interesting. We don't know what else BioWare is going to be doing as well, because I don't think it's just Anthem. They're big enough that they could be working on multiple projects. So if he does come back, would he be coming back to help with Anthem, or would he be coming back to work on the next Dragon Age?
I mean, most realistically, he would want to come back to work on Dragon Age, but I could totally see him being like, you know what, I can't resist helping out my former friends. I've got to bring BioWare back to its former glory. And that's the last thing I'm going to say on this. Like, I know it's easy to make fun of BioWare, but I really do hope that they can, pick up the slack and become a renowned studio again, renowned as they once were, because more great Canadian developers is a good thing.
I was just going to say, we have to support our Canadian video game developers whenever they're doing things that we love. I did want to point out one quote from the update from Casey Hudson. So we recognize that there's still more fundamental work to be done to bring out the full potential of the experience, and it will require a more substantial reinvention than an update or expansion. So is
this going to be like Final Fantasy 14?
I was going to say, over the last few years, we've seen a few games go back and try and reinvent the wheel through things like Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky. But with BioWare being an EA studio and seeing something like this saying substantial, it's not an update, it's not an expansion, do you think that they could have the balls to come out and be like, here's the new Anthem and it's $30? Do you think they could do that at this point? Charge for whatever it is they're going to fix, or does it have to be
No.
goodwill? Here is all the work we've done, just push it out the door.
No.
It would be suicide if they decided to charge for it, that's for sure.
But do you think they would do it? It's EA. It's EA though.
At this point, EA's continuously voted the worst company in America, and they know they have a PR problem. They know they have a problem after Star Wars. They've done good changes with Star Wars to make it better, so we're starting to see some turnaround on that. They did the Star Wars game that just came out. What's it called?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. That's single player, no microtransactions. So I think they understand that there's an image issue, and they need to correct that.
They also did, with DICE at least, spent the last 2 years fixing Battlefront 2 in a lot of fundamental ways. Probably not on the scale that it seems to be referring to with how they're going to take Anthem, but still, like, Battlefront 2 was a lot different when it first came out to where it is now.
Yeah, I've really been meaning to get back to Battlefront 2 because I really enjoyed it when it first came out. I really actually enjoyed the single player they added with the game, but the multiplayer just didn't get its hooks in me. So that's one I kind of want to go back and sort of rediscover to see what changes they've made over the last couple of years.
All right, so moving on. This is going to be some interesting E3 news. E3 isn't for a couple of months, but we just got the announcement today that Jeff Keighley will not be participating at E3.
R.I.P. E3.
E3 is dead!
Yeah, that's pretty huge. If one of the biggest proponents, the guy who hosts a lot of developers and a lot of personalities, if he's not going to E3, what does this mean? I mean, we already knew Sony wasn't returning, so what do you guys think about this?
I mean, it kind of echoes what Sony said in their statement of the ESA not delivering the experience they want from an event like this. We did see earlier this week that Sony announced that they're going to have The Last of Us 2 playable at PAX East at the end of February. So for anyone who's heading to PAX East, be sure to check that out. And it seems to me like Sony just wants to get their product in front of consumers. Keighley last year pushed really hard during the Game Awards for the whatever that promo was on Steam where you could demo a bunch of games or something. Was that Game Awards or E3? I'm forgetting now.
I'm pretty sure it's Game Awards.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it feels like he also wants this to become more of a consumer-driven fan event. And if the ESA is still, dragging their heels on trying to keep it an industry businessy conference, I can see a conceivable future where E3 does not exist, at least in the form it has over the last decade.
Yeah, I suspect that it will always exist in some way with the name being so recognizable to gamers, but I do think that they are going to, with a lot more people starting to pull out, like even personalities, that we're going to start seeing, hopefully, those fundamental changes that everyone's kind of looking for.
It's so disappointing to see the whole direction that E3 has gone, not in terms of I'm not even talking in terms of like the poor decision making that they've made, but like, well, I remember being a kid reading like Nintendo Power or Game Informer or any of the magazines as a kid, and E3 was just this like the place you wanted to go, the place you wanted to get to, right? Yeah. All the kids on the playground were always talking about, oh man, did you see what happened at E3? Man, I can't wait to go to E3 one day. One day I'm gonna make it big and go to E3, and just like to have the idea that like that big moment be unattainable for future generations even, it's profoundly sad to me.
Yeah, I think the experience we all dreamed of when we were younger following along with the E3 news is something that you can get at other major conventions. So I'm saying this now, I'm putting this out into the universe. I know PAX East is happening this month. I'm saying PAX East 2021 and Press YYZ needs to be there. Who's in?
Sorry, what month is it again?
Boston in February. Sounds beautiful, right?
February. Yeah. I mean, I do a fair bit of traveling. I'm not against it.
Well, we'll talk about that leading into that next year. But I just feel like the experience we all wanted to have as a kid has just become something else, right? Like it's shifted away from E3 into these other conventions, whether they're run by indies or by other organizations. Like we all miss the idea of there being a PlayStation experience. Like that, it'd be great to see that come back, but it seems like we're moving away from E3 being the mecca of video game news, at least for now.
Well, we're going to have to see how E3 2020 is going to pan out later this year in June, and that seems to be it for the news. So now we're on to our next segment, the Read All of the Things, and so let's hear that jingle.
I didn't do one for that.
Okay. I forgot.
There will eventually be jingles for things, and it will be me mucking around in GarageBand. That is literally all it's going to be.
Oh, hell yeah. That's the way to do it. Okay, so now time to read all the things. And the first one that we've got is one that I was particularly interested in, and it's the article. It's a Vice article called Spider-Man Developers Want More People to Know How Games Are Written. And this is interesting to me just from what does it take to write for a video game, because you have to take in consideration like lines in gameplay, like you have to kind of rewrite lines so that you're not, as a player, you're not hearing them over and over again, and then what does that lead into having to design for cutscenes, which is probably more traditional film. And I just thought that this article was very interesting. Like we got some details about how the script for Spider-Man was about 800,000 words, which, and the number of pages, if put into a book, would have been longer than the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So you get a lot of little interesting tidbits like that. Did any of you guys manage to check out the article or have any
No, it's definitely. I had heard about the release of this, but it's definitely on my list to go back and read through this.
Yeah, the article came out coinciding a new concept art book that just came out for Spider-Man that does include pages of the script as well. All right, very nice. So now time for the next one. This one I did not actually put on the...
Yeah, that was me.
All right. Do you want to take
it? Sure. So the article I pulled was from gamesindustry.biz from Christopher Dreng. It's an opinion piece that he wrote titled Have we got Google Stadia all wrong? Which I know we're all pretty major video game enthusiasts and we've dabbled in some of these cloud technologies, but ultimately he argues that these technologies are not for us. We will go out and buy the next console. We will upgrade our stupid expensive gaming PCs, but it is for my buddy Chris, who isn't going to go buy a next-gen console, but he may want to play Doom Eternal. He may want to play Cyberpunk, and he will just go to one of these services and pay whatever it is and play the game right then and there. No disc, no wait, no download, no nothing. He will just have access to these. And I thought it was a really interesting take on the whole race to the cloud that we're seeing right now between Google, Microsoft. Now Nvidia's gotten into the game. You have to imagine Sony's going to rebrand or revamp PlayStation Now for next gen and do something interesting with that Gaikai acquisition. So I just thought it was a really interesting read, and I recommend anyone out there go and give this a click, give it a read. It's really interesting.
As somebody with Stadia, I had kind of a similar moment even with my Switch today, right? So just, you know, I tried to imagine what child me would have thought being able to play Smash Brothers on a handheld. Like, imagine a GBA Smash Brothers or something like that. I know there was like a Flash game years ago that just hit me like a ton of bricks. But yeah, no, I totally get it. It's definitely for somebody who doesn't just want to sit in front of their TV and wants to take their games, be able to play their game anywhere, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is just being able to convert consumers who are not gamers now in a traditional console sense and bring them to those experiences in a way that mobile has done by reducing barriers to entry. I think cloud is that next barrier. Like, when I go into work tomorrow and talk about how great xCloud is, people who don't have a system are going to be interested. So I just thought it was interesting to read through that.
Absolutely.
Very nice. All right, so that is done with Let's Read All the Things. And so now, next segment, which does have a theme. I remember listening to it. It's Rainin' Deals. And so...
No, I didn't do anything there either.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I only have so many hours in the day. I did the news, and I did a metal riff, because AJ wanted that for a segment. I was going to save it for when he hosted a topic of the show, but we can use it wherever you want. I don't care.
Okay, fair enough. I apparently am just imagining different themes in my head. Maybe I was getting visions.
You two need to get together. You two need to get together and figure out a good riff for this sort of thing. Because if you have them in your head, you need to tell him about it, and he can put them to GarageBand.
I'd like to subscribe to the theory that they're visions from the future. Now, let's get into the deals. So, today, by the way, if you're not following Wario64 on Twitter, that is a very, very good Twitter account to follow, because you get so many
There's
different
also
deals.
a Canadian-specific Twitter account, L-Babins. I think it's L-B-A-B-I-N-Z. L-Babins, however you want to pronounce it. And he does a lot of very Canadian-focused deals, whether it be Amazon.ca or Walmart, or these digital deals with the appropriate currency values if you are Canadian.
Oh, that's actually really
So
interesting.
I'll link it to you after the show, Alex.
Yeah,
but that's where I pull most of my deals from.
Okay, I didn't actually know that. Yeah, because I follow Wario, so. But either way, these deals still work for Canadians. They're just, the prices are going to be a little bit different than I have on the dock. But Capcom is having a huge sale on the Nintendo Switch. Phoenix Wright, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 5, and Resident Evil 6 are all on sale, ranging from $14.99 to $19.99. That is the US price, though. Resident Evil Revelations, Resident Evil 2 Revelations, Mega Man 11, Mega Man X Legacy Collections 1 and 2, and and Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 2. They are all on sale for pretty reasonable prices that you would get on the Switch.
So you had omitted having Phoenix Wright on this list when you put the dock together, and that was a travesty, because that is the one game from that sale that I actually did buy and plan on starting this weekend on that aforementioned road trip.
I didn't see the tweet. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know if I got that from the tweet. It doesn't matter. But
regardless,
honestly, like, that's a game I've wanted to get to, and having it, like, at least in Canada, it was $19.99. It's $14.99 in the US. So if you are following the US-based currency, to get 3 games of that quality for $5 a piece is just stupid value.
Yeah. Is there any? I mean, I've never played either of the Devil May Cries, and I've played Devil May Cry 5, and so I was thinking about picking up either the first one. I've heard 2 is not very good, but I've been thinking about picking those up on the Switch.
I mean, I will say, Resident Evil 4 at $20 does feel actually kind of oddly overpriced, considering how long this game has been out and how many different systems it's been ported to. But that game is, very much still a classic. So I as much as I wish it would be cheaper, I suppose that $20 isn't that bad either.
And I think also just the fact that you're getting it on the go is kind of a huge selling point, and I feel like it justifies that price for me specifically.
Yeah, I haven't played through that since the PS2 port from the GameCube, so that's something that I'm with Kozi, though. I'm going to wait for the price to drop a little bit more, but that's one that I do want to pick up eventually when I don't have so many freaking games on my backlog to play.
Fair enough.
So I played it on the GameCube when it came out, and I actually didn't like Resident Evil 4.
Interesting.
I just never found the gameplay great because I had to stop to shoot all the time, and that got frustrating. And maybe it was the difficulty curve. I know they come out of tank controls, which I didn't really like with the Resident Evil series beforehand either, but it just never clicked with me.
Were you somebody that had played the Resident Evil games before going into 4?
I played a little bit of 3 when I got my PlayStation 1. Because it was very late to get my first PlayStation. I was an N64 kid before I figured out that was not the way of the future. So I had to catch up on a lot of PlayStation games. So I bought Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and I just couldn't get into the tank controls. It was just so terrible. And I was excited about 4 because it looked great, and it just something about it never clicked with me, and I'm not sure what it was.
I mean, I'm curious, did you also play any of the Dead Space games?
No, I've not played Dead Space. In all fairness, I don't love horror games typically.
I mean, I feel like the first couple of Dead Space games, I'd be interested to see what you think of those games, because I feel like they're still what made kind of Resident Evil 4 great, but they give you a little bit more mobility. You don't have to constantly stop to shoot in those games. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for that reason, you might actually get a kick out of them.
Plus, there was some jerk who just came out of nowhere and ripped my head off with a chainsaw all the time, which I thought was not cool.
That just happens in most horror games.
All right. Well, continuing on the discussion of the deals, this one is pretty substantial. The Division 2.
Wait. Before you say that, who here has already bought this based on finding out that this promotion happened?
I'm waiting till I get paid.
Me.
I have not.
Oh, yes, I've bought it.
So 3/5 of this cast took advantage of this deal, so you know it's a good one.
All right. So the Division 2, the full game, is $2.99 right now on PSN, Xbox Live, the Ubisoft Store on PC, and Epic Games Store, which converted into Canadian is $3.99. So that is a hell of a deal.
So if you put, let's say, 100 hours into that game, you're like the cost, like it breaks my brain how little you're paying for this experience. Like so let's say 100 hours, you're paying 4 cents per hour that you're getting out of this game, which is just like, how can you say no?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to not take advantage of something like this.
I hear you, but I just not into the Division style bullet sponges that exist in that game.
Have you played either of them?
I played a little bit of the first one and it turned me right off.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think the first one was on Plus at some point. Because that's where
I know I played it on a free weekend on Steam at some point.
I mean, I was just like getting headshot after headshot into these dudes, and yeah, you're doing critical damage on them, but it's just this normal ass dude taking bullets to the face, very sponge like. It just kind of pulled me out of the potential immersion that game could have had for me.
Can I ask you guys a question about this? So with Ubisoft marking this down to $2.99. What's the incentive to buy an Ubisoft game up front? Because they regularly mark their games down to an extreme amount. Like I just bought the Assassin's Creed Odyssey collection, like the Ultimate with all the expansions and everything, for $35, I believe, Canadian. And it was normally $130.
So I don't remember the last time I paid full price for any Ubisoft game was Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Other than that, I can't think of a single Ubisoft game that I've paid full price for.
Yeah, I think mine would have been Far Cry 4 back in 2014. So yeah, like I mean, I don't really see their games as like ones that are like the must buys, even if they are like good games. Like, just I don't know, like, and like you were saying, like them going on sale so frequently and also pretty quickly after launch, they do kind of drop in price, even just by like a little bit. That I think the only reason you'd want to buy them is if you're like trying to be part of the conversation, as like, you know, as is popularly known as.
Yeah, I think looking at this as well as a live service game, if all of your friends are in there at launch playing this game, then you're going to want to be there to avoid like it's FOMO. You don't want to be missing out on the experience you could have with your friends. But in this case, with this sale being as good as it is, okay, little inside baseball here. I came here to see if you guys would want to play this with me. I went to the Kind of Funny Toronto Discord. Plug. Go if you're in the Toronto area. If you're a Kind of Funny fan, find us. And there were a bunch of people in there that want to play the game because they didn't play it the first time around. So the fact that I can hopefully, fingers crossed, get together a group of people to play this game was really the only reason I spent that $4.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking too. I'm not a big multiplayer guy typically with games. I tend to play them more solo, and I'm hoping that this will help me branch out and maybe try to play a little more multiplayer, because that's something I've never got to good at.
Same here, bud. Let's play solo games together.
All right, so I mean, this is such a killer deal. I think everyone should take advantage of it, unless you're like AJ and just kind of don't like the Division style enemies.
Sorry.
I mean, you know, this isn't the first bad opinion you've had.
Hopefully it's the last.
Debatable.
So, rounding out our deals, this one's not as substantial, but I still think it's worth acknowledging. The Outer Worlds is 50% off right now on the Epic Game Store, which is $29.99 USD. I didn't do the conversion for this. Though I don't think this is the best way to play it on PC, because you can just get it through Game Pass, I still think...
I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure it's on Game Pass.
It is, that's how I played it. I still think the Outer Worlds is such a great game for the amount that I've played it, that if you did want to like support the developer fully, if you did want to support Obsidian fully, then I would say it's worth it. But at the same time, get it through.
So I didn't get around to the. I mean, I talked earlier in the show. I don't own words. I don't own an Xbox. So if I do pick one up and have Game Pass, I'll try it out. But I was actually honestly looking forward to waiting and playing the Switch version, which unfortunately either earlier this week or late last week, it was delayed due to the porting developer being in China and the coronavirus having impacted their development at the port, which is unfortunate. And well wishes to anyone who's dealing with that at the moment. But it's something I want to get around to, but I was hoping to wait for the Switch game.
Yeah, I'd love to see how that actually does run on the Switch. So if you do pick it up whenever it does eventually come out, I'd love to hear your report back on that.
And you still need to play Doom on the Switch. I'm telling you now.
I have something I'm not sure about. In theory, could you just subscribe to Game Pass and then play it through this xCloud beta right now?
No, because xCloud on iOS right now only supports the Master Chief Collection.
Okay.
I was to say, even xCloud regularly, isn't there only so many games it supports?
I know. Yeah, I think there might be a limit on that, but I know you can also. They also brought the the console streaming stuff. Not that you have an Xbox necessarily, but there's a good handful of stuff that I'm pretty sure is also on Game Pass, but I don't know if Outer Wilds is one.
So
of them.
To tangent a bit, the xCloud beta on iOS does not support console streaming.
Yeah. Okay.
It's only supported right now on Android, so that would also limit me. The fact I don't own the console would also be a limiting factor. But like I said, I'm a believer in the tech, so I'm probably gonna go, vote with my wallet and pick up an Xbox.
All right, and well, we'll be here waiting for you to see how you enjoy all of that. And that seems to be the end of the deals. Definitely check out those Capcom games and definitely pick up the Division 2. But now, time for the main topic of the show, which is the return, after only 1 week hiatus, of 5x5. And the topic for this week is the best video game protagonists of all time. Now, I've changed up the scoring system a little bit. So, let's just get into the specifics of how this game works, just in case you missed the first episode when we did this. Round 1, we go round robin. Everyone brings 3 games to the table, or 3 protagonists in this case, to the table. And then I, as the non-biased judge, will list them accordingly. There are 12 slots, and I will choose. The top 10 get points. 6 through 10 get 1 point. 4 and 5 get 2 points. 2 and 3 get 3 points, and the number 1 gets 5 points. Round 2, you get to choose one of your protagonists, and you get to argue why it should be higher than someone else's, and then they get a rebuttal. And then I get to choose where that's going to land. Round 3 is going to be a lightning round, where there will be a random number generator. Everyone will pick one number, and I will give them a protagonist of choice, and they have to argue it. If they have not played the game, I will be merciful and let them choose another number. Then
Boo.
I am all right. Fine. Fuck you guys. All right. No.
Fuck yeah. Let's go.
No mercy.
For the record, I did not boo.
All right. I will remember you, AJ.
There's more hilarity in making us
Appreciate
talk about something we don't know.
That's fair enough. You know what? I'm in it for the comedy. So, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right.
Play the jingle.
Not yet.
Did it 5. Did it 5.
No.
Did it 5 by 5. There we go. I got
like
you.
Which doesn't
All
make
right.
any sense with the scoring system now, but I digress.
It didn't make sense before, so who cares?
Also true.
I think we just have to keep the name and just say it doesn't
Yeah,
make
but-
sense.
The name is catchy, so you know what? It works.
Fine.
Let's just say it's in beta, and we'll figure it out later.
Just like Stadia.
Okay.
But
Sounds great. Now,
like beta.
does anyone want to volunteer to go first? No? Cool. Mitch, you're first.
I was gonna volunteer, so that works out. So the protagonist I'm gonna also inside baseball. Are we putting a time limit on these?
Yeah, we
Like
should.
we probably should.
Okay. Yes. Okay. For round 1.
So we did a minute.
I'd say even less than that this time around.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do? Let's do 45 seconds for round 1.
You got it.
All right.
Master Chief.
All right.
Yeah.
Master Chief.
So, Master Chief, kidnapped as a kid, forced into service, experimented on, has this real tragic story. It's been expanded upon in all the single-player games. It's one of the most iconic protagonists of all time. You can look at this character, you know it is Halo. This is the Halo guy. It has perpetuated into pop culture in a way that most video game protagonists don't. And for that reason, Master Chief's got to be one of the top 10, if not the top video game protagonist of all time.
I like your reasoning. You have 10 seconds. Do you want to use them?
That's all I needed.
All right.
It speaks for itself. It's Master Chief, baby.
Fair enough. All right.
Hail to the Chief.
Well, you're definitely playing to your audience, and I do appreciate that. Since there's no one else on the list right now, Master Chief is at number 1. So, right now you are at 5 points. I'm not going to recap every single time somebody gets added, but for right now, since it's the first one, Master Chief is number 1. So, AJ, what have you got?
What have I got? How about Link from The Legend of Zelda? The ultimate, the ultimate cipher for your character. The embodiment of courage, meant to strike down power, can team up with wisdom, and be ever successful. Throughout all the games, Link has been a bit of a loner, just like me, and ultimately does what needs to be done to defeat any evil which may come to destroy the world. That was unprepared.
I could tell. I liked your argument. It was, you brought up like him being the embodiment of courage. I appreciated that. Though you didn't really talk about how much of an icon he is, which I think
That's true.
was one of the things that Mitch brought up that I very much thought was a solid point. So I'm not.
I appreciate your respect
Yeah,
there.
I'm not just putting it because I'm not just putting it at number 2 is where Link is going to go for now. Just because, remember, I am unbiased. This is based on argument alone. So
I totally believe you.
That
good
is
sir.
fair.
but I just had to acknowledge it because, once again, I understand pulling to the audience who's actually judging. So, moving on. Nathan, what have you got?
Okay, so when we did our top villains list, somebody surprising came out at number 1. So I'd like to throw somebody surprising out there for our top heroes. Batman.
How is Joker surprising for best villain?
Hey, don't interrupt.
Well, in a video game.
Fine.
So Batman is the best video game hero. He's been in over 20 video games. Unlike the Joker, who hasn't been in every Batman game, Batman has been in every Batman game. He's been in many great games, some bad ones, but we all have those hits and misses. But in terms of being a hero, he is always a hero. He always does what's right. He'll make the sacrifices he needs to make. And as far as iconic goes, Batman is more iconic and more visual to anybody that is going to look at video games or heroes in general.
All right, that is time. Now, that was a great argument. I'm not going to lie. I really like that you brought up both the symbol that Batman is and also just what he does as the hero of his stories. And so, because of that, Batman is going at number 1.
You fucking kidding me?
I think it was a great argument, and Batman is number 1. If you got a problem with that, bring it up in round 2.
That's the plan.
Got him.
So we got one more for the first round of round 1. That doesn't make sense, but that's okay. Kozi, what have you got?
2 words: Doomslayer. When a demon invasion is taking over Mars, taking over Earth, taking over anywhere in the galaxy, you call the Doomslayer. He'll get the job done, and he'll do it without asking for anything in return. That's it.
You still got... Okay. Short and sweet. You still have 20 seconds.
I don't need it.
Are you sure you're okay? All right.
I'm sure.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I really like the way that you're going. I can tell that you're very passionate, but you're also keeping it short and sweet, just like the Doomslayer. And because of that, he is going at number 1. Yes. And this is not just because I love Doom.
It 100% is.
I
You
promise.
said earlier in this episode, Doom is your favorite game of all time.
I mean, it's entirely coincidental, Mitch. You can't prove anything.
Yeah.
I'll prove it in round 2.
Doomslayer, number 1, and that is Kozi's pick. Now, we're in round 2 of round 1, because, round 1.5, as some may say. And we're going to go the same way we went before. So, Mitch, what have you got?
Okay, so round 1, I went with the icon of a protagonist that was Master Chief. Round 2 of round 1, I'm going with who sort of brings heart and soul, a really passionate, tragic story to all of us to experience and in some ways influence, and I'm going to bring Clementine from the Walking Dead Telltale series to the party. This is a character that we're introduced to as someone who's stripped away from her family, needs to just try to survive in this terrible, terrible world, and learns to grow and thrive, some would say, in this environment. And you really do see her story shape up to be whatever it is you as the player want it to be. And in that way, it really tells the story of how anybody would try to survive this and try to come out on top. And it's just such a personal, you get such a personal feel from it. It's incredible.
I really appreciate it. I thought it was a great argument. So far, we've had some pretty outstanding arguments. I very much appreciated how you brought in the character development, because that is very important to a protagonist. You got to be invested. And because of that, I will put Clementine from The Walking Dead at number 2. Very good arguments. Very good arguments. Now, AJ, what have you got?
Yes. Who do I've got? I've got Geralt of Rivia. Now, most people in recent days might be more familiar with the Netflix show, but the Netflix show inspired a lot of people to go back and give the Witcher series in general a second shot. And Geralt is somebody who tries he's a monster slayer who doesn't want to pick sides. He'll fight for the good, he'll fight for the bad, but he still has an internal moral compass. And as you go and playing as Geralt, you discover with him why it's bad to not pick a side.
All right.
That's my argument.
Very good argument. Very good argument. Now, I do appreciate you bringing up the Netflix show and bringing up the visual imagery in that being based on how they did it in the game. I thought that was a very good point. But you kind of touched on some of the things that Mitch had brought up already with the development, and it felt like you were just kind of saying the same point but just for Geralt. And because of that, Geralt of Rivia is going to go at number 3 underneath Clementine.
I'll take 3.
Now, Nathan, you're up.
Okay, I don't know how we got this far, and this person hasn't been said, but he's the main video game hero when you think of video games. It's a Mario. How is Mario not on the top of this list? He saves the princess regularly. Yes, it's a common trope, and it doesn't have that much motivation, but he does it with such gusto every time, going to great lengths to save the princess from an evil giant turtle. And he's done other things. He's been in RPGs. He's been a boxing ref. He's played golf. Mario has literally done everything. There is no better protagonist.
And there we go. You know what? I really appreciated your passion there of wanting this list to be right. Also, very important, versatility. Mario is versatile. And because of that, he's going at number 1. Mario is number 1 so far. Now, Kozi, what have you got?
I thought long and hard about what I was going to bring up next. I have some more jokey things, but I'll save the jokes till the end because I feel like I kind of got screwed over with Mario being a villain on the last time. I'm going to go with Pit from Kid Icarus. What I like about Pit from Kid Icarus is I feel like he's a good kind of complement to my earlier pick of the Doomslayer. He's more of a funny, jovial, youthful protagonist. Unlike a lot of other heroes from the era in which he debuted, he's not too much of a womanizer. He actually has a lot of respect for women, and in fact, directly basically works in the service of his patron goddess, Palutena. He has a wide range of weapons that he can wield, and he generally is loved by all.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I appreciate a good protagonist should be likable, I think. I mean, not always, but I think it's a good rule of thumb. And so that point really stuck with me, you know? And so because of that, I'm going to put Pit at number 4. All right, everyone gets one more pick before our list is finished for round 1.
All right, I'm ready. Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Oh, I'm ready. Okay, this protagonist is the sole reason why video games as an art form, as an entertainment medium exists, and that protagonist is Pac-Man. Video games don't exist the way they do today without Pac-Man having paved the way for iconic video game protagonists since back in the 80s. That Pac-Man is iconic from the original arcade game straight through to various appearances in other forms of media, television, other games. He's in Smash Brothers. Pac-Man is the epitome of an iconic video game protagonist because you can't see that yellow circle going waka 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 and not know who Pac-Man is. That's it. It's Pac-Man. Pac-Man is the best protagonist of all time.
This is a tough one because you do have a point. He has quite a history of being the video game protagonist. But I feel like that's all you brought to the table with this. I feel like I don't know who Pac-Man is.
Everybody knows who Pac-Man is.
But what if I didn't?
Then you're not a video game fan.
What
does
he do?
You're not an entertainment fan.
What does he do? That's beside the point. He's going at number 9.
Are you fucking kidding me?
All right.
You're wrong and you know it. Why are you doing this?
We're having fun. I'm having fun at least. All right, AJ.
I'm glad one of us is.
This game is great.
AJ, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What's your final pick?
Commander Shepard. What better icon lets you be who you want to be, lets you play how you want to play? Male or female? Yes, we could go deeper into that in 2020, whatever next iteration may come of the Mass Effect franchise. But Paragon versus Renegade, good versus evil, you can weigh the scales any way you want, and Commander Shepard lets you do that.
Very solid. You still have 10 seconds, but I'm going to assume you don't need it.
Absolutely. That's my
Sounds
argument.
pretty similar to another argument.
It was similar, but also he decided to go into detail about how specifically Shepard is versatile, which I appreciated. You are right, though, Mitch. You are right that he is. It's a little similar, but I still appreciated the detail that you went into. I think that was the important distinction.
I had a little more time to think about it. not that I didn't have a whole week.
And because of that, I think that Commander Shepard should go at number 3.
Ooh.
All right, Nathan?
All right, this is a tough one. I've had to debate a few in my head quickly for what the next best choice is. But honestly, I'm going to have to go with my heart and say Mega Man. Mega Man, the Blue Bomber, has been in games since the NES. He's been in countless games, and countless great games. All of the games he's in are classics. And you've got not only the regular Mega Man series, you have Mega Man X, you've got Mega Man ZX, you've got the Zero series, you've got the Battle Network, and the other one that was weird. There's tons of Mega Man, but he'll always go to save people, to battle evil robots, and he always takes mercy on Dr. Wily, just like Batman. He never kills Dr. Wily. He always tries to save him and make him better.
Good argument. I interesting choice to compare your two characters that you chose, but you know what? I respect that. Mega Man, I believe, should go at number 7, just above that. All right, Kozi, bring us home for round 1.
All right, I feel like we need to finish out strong with a wild card pick. Earlier, Nathan brought up Mario, and obviously Mario's a solid pick, but you know who also is a solid pick is Bowser, as he appears in Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. In that game, to quickly catch you up for speed, basically Mario and Luigi get swallowed up in Bowser, and while they're absent from being able to defend the kingdom, Bowser has to take over their reigns, and basically goes on a pugilist kind of like championship bout across the wayside, punching and destroying everything that dares lay a finger on the Mushroom Kingdom and its dear princess, who coincidentally also got swallowed by him.
Interesting wild card. Now, I know what my heart is telling me, and I do appreciate that you specified which game he was the protagonist, because this isn't about heroes. This is about protagonists. And so I appreciated that, and I really liked the wild card pick. I know what my heart's telling me, but I don't know if I could in good conscience do it. I can see Mitch shaking his head, but just because I don't think I could do it, he's going at number 2, Bowser from Inside Story. I appreciate the guts that it took to bring a pick like that. So, because of that, we are done with round 1. This is our definitive list.
Everything is lining into place.
This is our definitive list of video game protagonists. At number 1, we have Mario by Nathan. At number 2, we have Bowser by Kozi, specifically from Bowser's Inside Story. Little asterisk. All right. Number 3, The Doomslayer by Kozi. At number 4, Commander Shepard, AJ. Number 5, Clementine from The Walking Dead by Mitch. Number 6, Pit, Kozi. Number 7, Geralt of Rivia, AJ. Number 8, Mega Man by Nathan. Number 9, Batman by Nathan. And number 10, Master Chief by Mitch. Number 11, Link by AJ. And number 12, Pac-Man by Mitch. So, how are we feeling?
I'd like when you get to it, a little rule clarification when we get into round 2.
Okay, well, we're just about to get into round 2, so do you want to ask the question?
Yeah, so when we argue, so round 2, argue why one of your suggestions should be higher than another. We're not arguing why it specifically is higher than the rest, like better than the rest of them.
Yeah, you're just
But
comparing
we're
it to...
specifically comparing it to, no, it's just this one.
Yes.
I want it better than this.
Yes.
I want it to swap places with this one.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
All right. So, anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Sounds good. We are into round 2, and at round 2, we're going to switch the way that we are doing the round robin. And so, Kozi, you are up first.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want higher?
Okay. So, I mean, I think I'm going to leave Bowser and Doomslayer as they are. I don't want to tempt Mario. I'm going to make a case for why Pit should be higher than Commander Shepard. I think that, Commander Shepard, male or female, they do their role right. However, the thing about Commander Shepard is that whenever they have to venture out into deep space, they always have a lot of issues. They have to assemble a giant team to do that. They have to work out the logistics of the Normandy. It's a whole big thing. Pit, half of Kid Icarus Uprising is Pit going into deep space like it's nothing. Pit is not afraid of space. He loves it. He relishes in it. And for that reason, I think that you've got to put Pit higher than Commander Shepard.
Very solid argument. I like that a lot. But because we are fair here, AJ, you do get a rebuttal. You get the same amount of time to rebuttal. Are you ready?
Ready.
Go.
Pit is just a boring ass angel that fights things. Commander Shepard is the first of the human people to be a Spectre, an elite soldier meant to defend the galaxy against any threat. And he does just that. He is the best protagonist when compared to Pit.
Interesting.
They, not he. It is not always a he.
My Shepard was a he.
Fair enough. And
So.
you can only talk from your own experience. So,
That is what I'm doing.
I liked your rebuttal, but I really appreciated the point that Kozi made of Pit he doesn't need a team. He can be by himself. And that's, I think, what a good protagonist can be. He can be versatile to work with other people or not need to. And Shepard, you never really brought up the point that Shepard can do that. So, you know what?
That's fair.
Pit's going above Commander Shepard at number 4. All right.
Yes. Oh, yes. The decks are falling into place.
All right. So, if I am not mistaken, it is now Nathan. You get to choose how you want to.
Well, I obviously can't change number 1, which leaves 9 and 8. And I'm going to go after Batman and say Batman should be above the Doomslayer. And I'm going to appeal to your sensibilities, Alex. I know you love Doomslayer, so I want to be careful in how I'm approaching this. But Batman, I know you have a love of Joker and you have a love of Batman as well. And let's be honest, the motivation and the character of Batman is so much more than the Doomslayer. The Doomslayer grunts and he runs around a lot. There's a little bit of backstory, but it's mostly told from other people's point of views. He's a silent protagonist for the most part, where Batman's full of emotion with a colorful rogues gallery and really should be above Doomslayer.
Very solid argument. Very solid argument. Kozi, because Doomslayer is your pick, you get a rebuttal. Go.
I really enjoyed the Batman Arkham games, but I honestly felt like they didn't do as much with Batman's character in those games as I felt like they could have. By comparison, while it's true that the Doomslayer doesn't have as much going on with him, I feel like the game intimately understands that, and it doesn't necessarily try to go there at all. Whereas I feel like with Batman, it's like they try to go there halfway, but it's kind of half-hearted. Doomslayer, they understand this guy isn't going to have much story, and they design the whole game around that. Batman, it's not as focused in that regard.
Very nice. Ooh, this is a tough one. It's like I'm choosing between my children. This is so difficult. But I do gotta say that just to man, I feel like I don't win.
What are you doing?
Either I
What are
don't
you doing,
win.
Alex?
I don't win either way. I really don't.
Alex, be cool. Be cool, Alex.
Do it.
Be cool.
Do it, Alex.
What is your heart telling you?
See, okay, I'm gonna talk this. I gotta talk this through because I like the point that you talked about getting to know Batman as a character, but I do like the point that you rebutted with that of the Doomslayer. The Doomslayer's world reflects his character, which is that.
But that makes the game better, not the hero.
True, but that was also a point you.
That means it's better
that's
game
also a point
design.
that you did not make during the argument, so I can't take that. I
didn't have a
I
chance
can't take
to-
it into consideration.
that would-
All right, Doomslayer stays where he is.
I stared into the abyss, and it turned away.
All right, I'm sorry, Nathan. Better luck next time. AJ, what have you got?
Link is a much better protagonist than Clementine is. Link absolutely embodies the courage that is required. Link is born with that courage. The fact that Link is a vessel for yourself and the challenges you may face as you proceed through the story. Link just embodies courage in such a way that outdoes anything Clementine did through any of the Walking Dead games.
All right. I was trying to let you have a full cohesive thought.
Thanks.
So great. All right, Mitch, you get a rebuttal because Clementine is your pick. What do you gotta say?
What is more courageous than as an orphaned
Link.
teen making the decision to raise somebody else's child on your own? There's nothing more courageous than that. She put her own self-interest aside to take care of somebody else who would have died regardless. That's more courageous than anything Link has done in any Legend of Zelda game, period.
Ooh, okay. I like where your head's at of bringing the examples to the table. Instead of just telling me that your character is courageous, you gave me a proper example. And so, I hate to do this to you, AJ, but nothing has changed. Clementine stays where she is.
Womp womp.
Well, it was a good effort. I did appreciate the argument.
It wasn't a Hail Mary like last time.
All right, and to end out round 2, Mitch, what have you got?
I want to do something crazy, but I don't know how you're going to take it.
Ooh, I like crazy, though.
Okay, give me 15 seconds on the clock twice. Pac-Man is a better protagonist than Bowser from Bowser's Inside Story because Pac-Man does not swallow some of the most iconic protagonists of all time. Bowser does. Master Chief is a better protagonist than the Doomslayer because the Doomslayer has no personality. There is nothing to him whatsoever. Whereas we learn over the course of the Halo games that Master Chief is who he is because of the way that he was brought up, and that is what makes him a great protagonist.
All right.
Wait, we're allowed to do 2? This is breaking the rules.
If that's the case, then just take the first one. But I wanted to do something crazy because this list is a travesty, and you would agree with me that Master Chief is far too low.
Well, so there's 2 ways we could go about this. I could let both of them rebuttal, or you could pick whichever argument you liked more and go with that.
It's your game. You do with it as you will. I gave you my heart.
Okay.
I lay it out on a platter. You do with it what you want.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I like the argument of Doomslayer versus Master Chief. So, Kozi, you get to respond with that.
Here's the thing. At the end of the day, Doomslayer came before Master Chief, and so I don't got a counter argument other than Alex.
That has nothing to do with the character.
I don't have a counter argument other than Alex be cool.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm choosing between my 2 actual children this time, but also, man, the Alex be cool, that was your argument last time, and because of that, it did work, and so I can't let it work twice in a row. So Master Chief goes above Doomslayer.
I'll fully accept this loss on my part. I will also
Pac-Man?
say I
Like,
feel
come
like you
on.
kind of bamboozled me at presenting both of those arguments at once, because I didn't know in my head, do I focus on countering the Bowser argument or do I focus on countering the Doomslayer argument?
It worked, though.
I fully accept it. I'm not gonna dispute what's happening here. I'm just saying.
Understandable. I apologize. They were both yours, Kozi.
Yeah, if I had known what was going to happen, I wouldn't have allowed it, but I couldn't stop it once it happened. So,
You could have just said, I broke the rules and done nothing.
yeah, but that's less fun.
I agree with you.
I mean, it probably would have been funny, but I like to respect the integrity of the game, which actually
I
no, wait,
promise-
that's the opposite of it. Never mind.
I promise it won't happen again, but just looking at the list the way it was, they both needed to move, and at your discretion you chose, and that's understandable.
Yeah. And besides, I thought there was going to be a better argument of Master Chief versus Doomslayer because they are similar in like sort of being the vessel for the player. Regardless, whatever. So round 3, we are moving on. Are the scores at the bottom of the page accurate?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay, I will bring up the scores in a minute. As the list stands, Mario is still at number 1 for Nathan. Bowser is still at number 2 for Kozi. Master Chief has moved to number 3 by Mitch. Pit, I think Pit's still in the same spot. I'm not going to do this for everyone. Pit's number 4. Pit's number 4 for
Up to
Kozi.
date.
Clementine, number 5 for Mitch. Commander Shepard for AJ is at number 6. Geralt of Rivia for AJ is at number 7. Mega Man for Nathan is at number 8. Batman for Nathan is at number 9. And the Doomslayer, who is far too low, but those are the rules, for Kozi, are at number 10. So, the score, as it stands by the end of round 2, AJ, 2 points. Mitch, 5. Kozi, 6. Nathan, 7. It's pretty close, guys. And we got one more round. And it is the random number generator. I get to make you have an argument. Now,
Hell yeah.
we're going to do this in a different order. Nathan, pick a number.
Sorry, what was the numbers between?
1 and 15.
1 and 15. I'm going to go with what I did last time. Lucky number 13.
Number 13. All right. Number 13 is Pokemon Trainer from Pokemon Red.
Ooh, Pokemon Trainer. So he wanted to be the very best, the best that no one ever was. But he gets a Pokemon from a professor, an old man, gives him a thing, and he sets off, and his mom just says, go adventure and do whatever you want. And then he just leaves home, and he starts going and collecting Pokemon and imprisoning them in these balls while he travels to become a Pokemon master, to be the best person at imprisoning animals in balls and making them fight each other. I mean, I don't know how you can argue that this isn't the best protagonist.
What I wanted to say earlier is that so the Red from the first Pokemon games is actually kind of infamous in the games for literally never speaking. Even when he makes cameos in future games like Pokemon Gold or most recently Pokemon Sun and Moon, he like literally is just like ... whenever he tries to speak.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. So, Red, I refer...
For the record, though, as somebody who really likes Pokemon, I endorse Nathan's argument all the same.
Can you put it above Doomslayer,
Well-
though, Alex?
I feel like... I mean, I might have to, because he did have a pretty good argument. I just keep looking at it and just getting really sad that number 10. Ugh. Oof. All right. I did like your argument. I think. I thought if this list was Pokemon, if this list was video game heroes,
Can we
you
do best
would've
Pokemon
probably-
at some point?
I mean, if you want to host,
will.
yeah,
Don't worry.
I assume we will.
Sweet.
But I did make the point that protagonists don't have to be good. They don't have to be heroes. And the point you made of prisoning Pokemon, that sounds like a pretty hefty goal for a protagonist. And that's what protagonists have to do. They have to have a goal in mind. And you said too, wanting to be the very best and imprisoning Pokemon. And so because of that, I think that Pokemon Trainer, otherwise known as Red, is going to go
Don't do it.
at number 5.
Boo.
Yes.
I'm so sorry,
Yes,
Doomslayer.
yes.
All right.
You're not even apologizing to me. You're just apologizing directly to the Doomslayer.
I'm sorry about that ping. That was my phone. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, Do Not Disturb exists. But
I thought I wasn't popular enough to get messages. All right. So now that we're going in a wacky, strange order, Mitch, what have you got? Number-wise.
Lucky number 7, Alex.
Lucky number 7. Now, This is the wild card. It's a free pick.
Oh, free pick. Okay, let me go to my list then. Give me 1 second. I was not anticipating this. It's a good thing I have a very hefty list prepared. Okay, so my pick is Sonic the Hedgehog. You have to identify that Sonic the Hedgehog, through all of his various incarnations, through all the various games he's been a part of, whether it be the Genesis era, the 3D weird platformer, Werehog era, like, he's been in some weird games, but no matter what, what's always persisted is how true to character that Sonic has been, how he has always strived to do good, has always tried to keep his friends safe, as opposed to Bowser, who eats his friends and then continues to rampage around the kingdom and maybe save some stuff. Like, who knows? But Sonic sticks to his guns and is one of the most iconic video game protagonists of all time. Soon to be hitting theaters in Sonic the Hedgehog on February the 14th.
Okay. It's a good argument.
I thought Shadow had the guns.
I mean, that is a good point. He doesn't actually have any guns.
That was a well-timed notification. But Tails doesn't. I don't know. There's probably some game where he has Shadow the Hedgehog has guns.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whose head's in the clouds now?
I missed that.
Yeah, but that's not Sonic the Hedgehog.
But yeah, Sonic's still great. Go Sonic.
All right. I think that you didn't talk as much about Sonic as you were trying to tear down another person's pick, which wasn't your goal. You didn't have to talk. You didn't have to say anything about Bowser, and because of
that's
that,
true. I needed something to compare to.
Sonic is going at number 14.
You're wrong. You know that, right?
Oh.
You missed the point of this round, and I am only reflecting it on the list.
Doomslayer's off your list, so suck on it.
Doomslayer's been off the list for a whole half of this round, and so because of that, I don't even care. He's dead to me. This is the definitive list. All right, AJ.
It's wrong.
What have you got, number-wise?
What are my range? What's my range here?
It's 1 to 15, but 7 and 13 have been picked.
Hey Google, pick a number between 1 and 15.
Something went wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
All right, no, that means it's up to me. I'll pick number 2.
That means he
How
gets
about
no
that?
pick, right?
She rolled the die and then said something went.
No, something went wrong. He gets
For
nothing.
something I don't know. Oh my god.
Which means you get nothing.
That dice is forever lost in cyberspace. Number 2 is pretty relevant to you, actually.
Oh, I hope so.
It's Nathan Drake.
Oh, good. Wonderful. So Nathan Drake is a fantastic video game incarnation of Indiana Jones, and who doesn't love Indiana Jones as a protagonist? He's a treasure hunter. He's a ladies' man. He's a go-getter. He tries to do what he's got to do to anything he's got to do to succeed in that regard.
All right.
Yeah, that's my argument.
Yep. Perfect. You know what?
Yeah, I'll take it.
I
started off strong and kind of fumbled there.
That's okay. You know, it happens to the best of us. But that is going to have to reflect on where
here we
Nathan
go.
Drake is going to go. But also, I noticed you don't have very many names on the list.
That's true. I don't.
And I do have to acknowledge you did start strong. And, you know, he is a go-getter.
He has more on the list
And
than
so
I
because
do.
of that, Nathan Drake is gonna go at number 8, so just above Geralt of Rivia. All right, Nathan, what have you got?
I get to go
Wait.
again?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Whose head is in the clouds now? It's Mitch, right?
Dude, I went as well. I picked Sonic, and you
Who hasn't gone?
belittled his name.
I'm sitting here, Alex. I'm sitting here, and I'm just drowning in my sea of isolation.
You know you can join us in any of these conversations, right, Kozi?
Hey,
I know.
it's been a long day. I'm sorry, Kozi.
But it's only Wednesday.
I've been up since 4 in the morning, but that's unimportant.
Somebody needs to ban all phone jingles going off in the middle of podcasts, by the way.
I'm using mine as a timer, and so that's why even on Do Not Disturb, it was still jingling. Regardless, Kozi, I am so sorry. Please pick a number and forgive me.
2.
2 is already done.
10.
10? All right. You get
Yes.
Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Aloy. Okay.
Go ahead. Yes.
See, here's the thing about Aloy, is that Aloy's been dealt a bad hand in life. She's been forced to grow up in a land that's ravaged by giant robotic dinosaurs. And does she just be like, all right, well, I'm just going to live quietly in the, primitive little cities that populate this savage land? No, she's like, I'm going to take advantage of all this futuristic technology and tame the dinosaurs and make them inferior to me, make them submissive to me. And I think that for that reason, like, it's one thing to tame dinosaurs, and it's another thing to tame robotic dinosaurs. And for that reason, I think Aloy needs to go high.
Ooh, very good point. And, robot dinosaurs are pretty cool, and so that does mean that her cool factor goes up just by association. Because of that, I think that was a very strong argument.
Yes, it
and
was.
I also feel really, really bad about completely forgetting that you didn't pick a number. That's not going to completely go into the reason why I'm putting Aloy at number 4, but it, helps just a bit. So,
All right.
this
There
is
we
the
go.
definitive list of video game protagonists. I'm going to start reading. Mario at number 1 for Nathan. Congratulations, Nathan. Who's the real winner here? Bowser at number 2 from Bowser's Inside Story for Kozi. Master Chief at number 3 for Mitch. Number 4, Aloy for Kozi. Number 5, Pit, also for Kozi. Number 6, Red from Pokemon for Nathan. Number 7, Clementine for Mitch. Number 8, Commander Shepard for AJ. Number 9, Nathan Drake for AJ. And number 10, Geralt of Rivia for AJ. And, unfortunately, the ones that were knocked off the list. Mega Man at number 11 for Nathan. Batman at number 12 for Nathan. Doomslayer at number 13 for Kozi. Link, number 14 for AJ. Pac-Man, number 15 for Mitch. And number 16, Sonic for Mitch. So,
How can 2 of the most iconic video game protagonists of all time be at the, or actually 4, be at the bottom of this list?
because the arguments weren't strong enough.
You're wrong, and you should feel bad about this list.
I feel great about it. And to be fair, this
Yeah,
is
where's
better
Doomslayer?
Well, I mean, we all make mistakes.
Apparently ours was letting you host.
So,
Oh,
are the
I'd like to file an HR complaint for that one. Wow.
I kid.
Wow.
I kid. This has been fun.
Hey man, no, I accept my faults. Is the scoring accurate?
I mean, Doomslayer will forever stare back at you whenever you're walking over a hill silently at night and you're just contemplating all your regrets in life. Doomslayer will be there and will be staring back at you.
Whatever. You got Bowser at number 2 on a list of best video game protagonists.
Whenever you wash your face in the sink in the morning and you stare up in the mirror, Doomslayer, he'll be staring at you.
Don't you have Twitch things to do? Let's just wrap it up.
Whenever you watch my stream on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive, Doomslayer will be
Don't
there.
spell it out. It'll be in the description.
We're not in the plug section yet. Let me just say what the scores are very quickly. AJ, unfortunately, you came last with 3 points.
I thought this was like golf rules, like lowest stroke
Well,
count.
in that case, AJ, you win. Congratulations.
Yay! I did it!
All right. Mitch, you got 4 points. Nathan with 6. And at number 1, Kozi, even though Doomslayer was not on the list. So congratulations, Kozi. You did a great job. You managed to sell a villain as a protagonist, which I think was very admirable. Congratulations. This has been fun.
Thank you.
I can't wait to never host again.
But
I'm sorry.
as previously discussed, we were going off of golf rules, so I'm afraid that AJ takes the victory this round, which means that AJ, it's your turn to host next week.
Oh no!
Is he going to be back next week?
Actually, wait. I need to step in as HR actually because AJ has a complaint against him. He doesn't actually get a chance to win. It's kind of one of those negative things that until it's off his record, he can't win.
Let's let him redeem himself by hosting next week. I think that sounds fair.
That's fine. I won't be here. We'll see if that one goes live.
Oh, wait a minute. Why are you not here? Mitch, what happened?
Yeah, that one line I just dropped there is kind of, that's not sitting well with HR. But on the realist, it's my fiance's birthday. If I pass that up for this, I will no longer have a fiance. So you know where my priorities are.
Will be your fiance.
All right, let's wrap it up. Mitch, since you're not going to be here, where can people find you?
Crying in a corner because this list is a travesty. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Mr. Mitch George.
Nathan, where can people find you?
Follow me at Twitter at _NMac.
Kozi?
At Twitter it sounds weird to say at.
Words are hard.
On Twitter at Alex Kozina, ALEXKZINA. I realized I shouldn't have said that out loud because they're now in the show notes. I apologize for that. Next person.
I do a good job of putting those show notes together. Why do you do this to me every week, Cozy? God damn it.
I mean, this is only episode 3, all right?
Just stay consistent.
I know.
It's a bad habit to get over. I get it. Growing pains for all of us, especially AJ, because he doesn't know.
All right. Anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, I'll plug my stuff.
I meant Kozi, because he only said his Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I said this at the top of the show. Please tune in February 17th, twitch.tv/CozyRealLive for the first ever Kazina for Kinda Funny Direct, 9 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. PST.
Perfect. All right, AJ, now it's your turn.
I'm ×0 on all the things, Twitter, Instagram, that's capital T, capital H.
And I am blatantly Alex on Instagram and blatantly _Alex on Twitter. It's been nice hosting. I'm probably never going to do it again because I've lost all the trust.
Also, the show is on Twitter at PressYYZ. Please follow us there for all updates related to the show.
All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Later, guys.